Okay, hey, Team Impact, we're on Monday, October 7th. We're going to get into this lesson. I actually assigned this on Friday, but we just didn't get to it. Wasn't enough time, so it wasn't a good idea to move on. But we're going to be working on integers on the number line. So we're going to work on this page together, okay, this page together, all right, and this page, the third page, is going to be your homework back here, okay? Okay, back here, okay? So this is your homework right here. So we have quite a bit of work to do here. So let's get rocking and rolling here, okay? All right, so hopefully you have your packet. If you didn't, I posted a link for these 3 or 4 pages there. A decimal is a rational number that represents part of a whole, where the part is base 10. All decimals can be represented on the number line. So let's talk about this for a second. Some examples. -5 7/10. We can put that on the number line. Okay. 17 2/10. That can go on the number line, right? Another positive decimal would be something like that. 8 72 thousandths. We'll go one more. How about just -12? We'll put a decimal there, 12 2/10, right? So those all can be represented on a number line. It's just finding where those spots are can be confusing, okay? So let's plot some things on the number line, all right? Set 1. Use the number line below to plot and label the points in set 1. Then plot and label the points in set 2. So let's do 1 together. You pause the video and then check out 2. -5. It's clearly right there. And let's put a letter A above that. -3 is clearly right there, and that's a B. C is 1. D is 3. Pretty easy so far. The next side will be a little bit more challenging, so it will. Taking a look at these. Letter E, 2 5/10. So here's 2, here's 3. Letter E would be right there, right and dead in the middle between 2 and 3, because it's 2.5 as a fraction. 3 75 hundredths. So we have to go between 3 and 4. And if we broke this down into 4 equal sections, 1, 2, 3, 4, all right, this would be thinking of money, 3 1/4, $3.50, $3.75. So that's going to be letter F right there. Let me make that bigger. -1 5/10. Well, here's -1 and -2. So -1 5/10 would be right in the middle of that, which would be letter G. And then finally, letter H is -3.5 or -3 5/10. Between -3 and 4, it will fit nicely right there. Let's put a letter H, and we are done. Okay? So just plotting numbers on the number line can be difficult at times, right? Especially if we go to the hundredths, right? That would be another issue. What term can you use to describe the numbers in set 1? Well, these are all right, in set 1, sorry, these are integers. All right? They're whole numbers and they're opposites. What did you notice when you plotted G and H? G and H. And how is that different than plotting E and F? E and F. All right. Well, G and H are negative. So G and H are negative. All right. All right. And what's the other two? E and F are positive. Now, we have a new term we're going to put out there. They're called rational numbers, right? Because they are decimals. We'll get to that later. But just looking at that, These are negative numbers in between something. These are positive numbers in between two integers. Okay, number one. Use the number line below to order the following positive decimals. Okay, so here's 0, here's 4, A. Here's 4, here's 4.5. 4.2 is probably going to be about right there, and I'm going to put a plot. And that's going to be letter A. We're kind of guesstimating a little bit. B, 1 6/10. Well, 1 6/10 is going to be a little bit bigger than 1, about right there. If we broke this down into 10 equal sections, this would be 1.6 because it's tenths. Letter B. Letter C is 1 500ths. Okay, so this first line, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we got too many there. Let me get rid of 1. So these aren't evenly spaced, but let's pretend there are. So this is 1 500ths. This is actually going to be less than 1 1/10. So that's where that's going to go. Think of splitting this into 50 equal sections here and 50 equal sections there. That's where that's going to go, right next to the number 1. Letter D is 8/10. So here's 5/10, right? 8/10 is going to be closer to 1. So let's put a plot there about that and put letter D. And again, if we were to split this into 10 equal pieces, that would be 0.8. Go ahead and pause the video and do number 2 on your own. All right, so if you're doing number 2 with me, sorry, I had something on my tongue there. All right, A, -3 5/10. Here's 0, here's -3, here's -4. Halfway is what we're looking for, letter A. B, -4 2/10. There's that. If we were to split this into 10 equal sections, this would be -4 2/10. So we have to be able to guesstimate where these are and approximate where these intervals would be. Number or letter C is 1 1/10. Well, here's 1, here's 2. If I was to split this into 10 equal sections, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, it would be right there, letter C. -2 7/10. Here's -2, here's -3. I'm going to kind of guesstimate that that's going to be right there. It's going to be a little bit above the half mark. So it's going to be about right there. That's a D. Let's put it down. 1 9/10. Here's 0. Here's 1. I already broke that down, so that's going to be about right in there. And that's letter E. So sometimes we need to make intervals. Other times we just need to break it in half. And other times we just kind of guesstimate where they go. Okay, let's flip the page. Next page up. Order the following numbers from least to greatest. And then if you need a number line to sketch, I always underline that. I'm looking for the biggest negative because that's going to be the smallest. And we want this least to greatest. So -6 is first, and I like to draw a line. Some people put a comma. The next smallest number is that. The number after that, the next smallest number would be 4. 4 6/10, and then 16. Okay? Least to greatest again. Go ahead and do that on your own, unless you need to do it with me. -7, -4 5/10. Now, we have to be careful here. What's the next smallest? Well, 17 is going to be the biggest. It's going to be 1 700ths. If you're ever confused about that, write them off to the side and compare left to right. Even. 7 is greater than 0, so I know that's the next smallest one. 1.77, and 17. Okay. Inequality signs. Less than, greater than, or equal to. Let's make these statements true. First up, negative 5 and 5/100 is going to be less than negative 5. If you made a number line, this would be further to the left. 3 and 58/100, 3 and 2/10. Well, 5 is greater than 2, so it's going to be a greater than sign. C, negative 1.75, negative 75/100. 1 is greater than 0, but it's a negative, so it's going to be less than. The bigger the negative, the smaller it is. And then finally, negative 24 and negative 24 and 0/10 is equal. They're equal. Okay? All right. Number 6. 3 students were asked to write decimals, a decimal less than negative 3 and 5/10 to determine which student or students completed the task correctly. Okay. Well, if we made a number line, and here's negative 4, and here's negative 3, and here's negative 3.5, all right, are all of these numbers less than, well, here's negative 3 and 5/100, that would be here, right? So that is absolutely correct, right? Oh, I'm sorry, I made a mistake here. Right, less than 3 and 5/10. I thought that was a comma. I wrote on that, negative 3 and 5/10. So, determine which student is correct. Well, that's not less than 3 and 5/10. That's not. Negative 3 and 6/10 is right in here. So the only person that is correct is Eddie. I apologize, I read that wrong. Okay. And then the last one, okay, we're going to order some numbers, and we're actually just going to do a couple of these. We'll do spinner A and spinner D. This is good practice, right? We want to order these values from least to greatest, okay? I'm not worried about this, all right, or this. This whole thing's going to be ordering. So the smallest negative number up here is negative 2 and 9/10. The next one is negative 1 and 4/10. Uh-oh, I missed it. Look there. And that's okay. I can just come back here and put negative 9. But that's a common mistake. You're looking at it, and that negative caught my eye. But there's actually the smallest. So it should go negative 9, negative 2 and 9/10, negative 1 and 4/10. The next smallest number is less than 1. So it is 68/100. The number 3, 6, and 11.2. Okay? All right. Let's go to the next one, actually. Let's do them all here. Greatest to least. We want the biggest number here. So 7, here's 12. I think that's the biggest. We have 12. What would be the next greatest number? 4? No, 7.7. And then 4. Okay? And then this is a positive number, so it's actually greater than the rest of those negatives. The next, all right, the bigger the negative, the smaller it is. This is the next smallest negative. Keep saying that to yourself if you're confused. Negative 1 and 4/10 and negative 5. We're going to skip this line just to give us some space. Okay, so we're not doing this one. Letter D. Greatest to least. The greatest number here is going to be 19. The next biggest integer is 9.7, or 9 and 7/10. Next is 9. The next one is 5500ths. After that, we're looking for the smallest negative number because it's the greatest. So it's negative 1.4, negative 2, and negative 6 1/10. So just organizing some values, greatest to least or least to greatest, okay? All right, this showed you before. I don't know if I showed you this right page or not, but this is the homework right here. If you're looking for it, again, it's in the packet or it's in the folder today. Have a great day, and I'll see you when I see you.